Hi, I'm Kathleen Draga, a Miss World Ireland 2021 finalist, and I'm here with the interview for Pageant Project.
Everyone, it's Adrian from the Pageant Project with you. My special guest for today is Kathleen Draga, who is a Miss World Ireland 2021 finalist. Kathleen, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here. Nice to see you with my laptop.
Whereabouts in Ireland are you coming to us from? You're from Dublin, so I'm assuming you're in Dublin at the moment.
Yeah, Dublin. I'm in Inchicore. I mean, you probably won't know, but it's a town near the city centre. So.
Okay, and the most important question I'm going to ask you today, what's the weather like in Dublin?
Right now it's very cloudy and it was raining a lot yesterday from what I remember, and I'm expecting it to rain later as well, but that's our summer, so.
It's actually just finished summer for you, hasn't it? Yeah, you guys are in autumn now. Do you call it autumn or do you call it fall?
Autumn. Fall is more American.
Okay, good to know. Well, Miss World Ireland finals are, 2 days, 3 days away?
Pretty much. It's on Sunday. It's so close now. It's almost doesn't even make sense because I even started in early 2020 before COVID started. I had my first interview for that. So I've been for a while now just waiting for the final.
So you're probably more than ready to, you've been raring to go probably. I mean, it's happened to a lot of pageant girls that they've had weird 2-year reigns or preparing for 2 years and then suddenly it all comes together. What are the emotions like? How are you feeling at the moment, given that it's been a long wait and now finally it's here?
Yeah, I'm very excited, to be honest. We had our recent judging. It was our Zoom judging was a few days ago. So all of the big stress is kind of over with. We've answered all the questions that we had to. If there's an interview on the pageant day, I'm ready for that as well. Right now, I'm just prepared and ready to go and can't wait for it.
Sounds good. So what's actually going to be happening on the Sunday? So you said you've had a lot of the judging already. So is there any judged parts on the Sunday?
For the top, I think top 7 or maybe top 5, depending on how the competition will go. I'm sure there will be a question there as well. But the main event is just the whole day. We're going to be there from morning to evening, and the event starts at 6 p.m. in Ireland time. It'll be an outdoor event at a castle called Kahlua Castle up on a hill. So it'll be really princess-like, very showbiz, very nice. I can't wait for that, yeah. And it'll also have a nice entertainment touch as well. I can't say too much, but there'll be lovely bits and pieces throughout the show that'll be very nice for people to watch as well. So,
are people in the local area still able to buy tickets if they want to attend Sunday, or is it sold out? Or is it a closed event?
It's not really a closed event. It is for audience as well. We had a ticket arrangement where we can offer for our friends and family to come over. I don't think it's still completely public though due to COVID because of how the restrictions still are going, so it's mostly friends and family coming over, but it will be outside, which is better as well. With COVID, we won't have to keep masks on while we're there. It's outside, open air.
And it's set in a beautiful castle. I think that sounds pretty ideal. Dare I ask what happens if it rains?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering as well. But there are options of covering. There's options of covering us. I'm sure they're prepared for that too. That's something that we're all worried about. I mean, can you imagine with the dress and the makeup and then it all starts raining? I mean, we'll still pose through it, but
I hope that your mascara is waterproof if it's going. I hope the contingency plan is not holding up an umbrella. That's all I'm going to say. I hope that there's more of a contingency plan than that. Kathleen, why don't you give us an idea as to how you got involved in pageants to begin with? Because I was doing a bit of reading. I don't understand this is not your first pageant.
No, it's not. I've had a couple of ones done already before. Basically, I always showed an interest in it when growing up. I was very outgoing, and I was always one, if in group photos, to pull the girly poses and to be the one in the front. I always wanted to be in the front and to be the center of attention. And walking even to like Tesco's, I'm not sure if you know of Tesco, but like the supermarket, I would like trying to walk down the street. It was very outgoing and, you know, exaggerating, very girly. So it was something that I was always looking at as well growing up, seeing the bigger girls in competitions. It inspired me. And then it really started when I was around 14. That's when I really started to compete. There were some pageants being held near me, and I said, why not give it a go? It would be nice to try it out. And I fell in love with the world. It was that, not just the glitz and glamour, and that's how people think of it usually. It's a lot of brain that goes into it. We had a lot of interview rounds as well. And what struck me about pageantry is that a lot of the skills that I learned being on those days and interviews or just talking to people, I was even able to apply it in my academic life. I had public speaking skills, which was so great because I had so many English presentations that I had to give in school where I had to stand in front of my whole class and present something. But I already had done these public speaking skills before in pageantry, so I was prepped for that, which was amazing. And all these aspects of pageantry really is why I kept going. It was such a fun time for me, and like I said, I fell in love. And being 17 actually was hard because I wanted to be 18 so badly to get into Miss Ireland and to start competing like in true competitions. So now I'm 18 and here I am. I mean, I'm 19 now, but you know, COVID took a year.
I thought you were 19 because I was looking at your social. I guess we can all just forget about 2020 and we'll just call you 18. So you would have, I guess you would have competed when you were 18, but you were robbed of the chance. World is very much like what you said. It's more than just the show. So have you given any thought to, I mean, hopefully, you know, you win the title on Sunday, but win or not, do you have like a final goal for pageantry, or are you just going to keep doing it because you enjoy it so much?
Yeah, like you said, I do really enjoy it. So it is something that I want to keep doing. But I've also noticed how much progress that I've been going throughout the pageant journey of mine. I've been doing, like, there's a requirement to do charity work, but I've been doing it even before. And to continue doing that with also the aspect of putting it on a platform and showing others what I'm doing is something that I love too. So to have any title, Miss Ireland, Miss World, Supranational, that I feel like any girl who has a title like that, it's something very inspiring for others. And that's another motive for me to keep going, to show others that you show yourself and then you also show the work that you're doing. We're not just our faces and our crowns and sashes, but we're also what we do. And that's something that's motivating me to keep going. And it's, you could call it an ultimate goal, to just put yourself out there and show to the world that it's a positive thing in our society to be part of this as well.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit more about the various fundraising things you've done? Because I saw that you did a fundraiser, obviously for Variety, with the Beauty with a Purpose.
Yeah.
And I think you did an auction there, and you were auctioning off, I think, some books. And then I think there was another one where you were auctioning off a painting you were doing. And then there's also the work that you do with Teen Turn. So can you just walk us through the different aspects of it?
Yeah, well, I guess it all starts with Teen Turn. This is the nonprofit organization that I've been helping before I even started Miss Ireland. And what I do with them is what they've done for me growing up. So I first met them when I was in secondary school. They introduced me to their program where I got to spend 2 weeks in a tech company learning all about coding, STEM subjects. I learned facial recognition, even got to be on a documentary in one of the TV programs that's in Ireland, the main one's RTE. And it was such a great experience. And I stayed with them since then. And I started to even help for the newer generations for what they were doing for them. So now I'm giving, I'm starting again because the exams are starting again. So school's coming up. I'm going to go back to giving biology grounds like I did last year. And I was mentoring throughout the summer as well for girls. So that's a feature that Teen Turn offers that I was taking part in as well. And for my fundraiser for them, because of all that they've done for me, I'd said it would have been nice to fundraise for them too. And I did a giveaway where it was inspired by female empowerment, and a passion of mine is reading. So I incorporated that as well into the fundraiser, where basically the prizes were a set of books that had a female character that was very strong. And then obviously some more stationary prizes because school is coming up. Everybody needs their pens and markers or whatever they use to take notes. And along with that, throughout the weeks or the 2 weeks that I did the fundraiser, the Teen Turn girls, the members that were a part of the organization, were also posting on their Instagrams kind of reviews and just opinions about books that they found inspiring with strong female characters, to keep this female empowerment ambition that Teen Turn already has just going throughout the whole fundraiser. That was kind of the idea for this one, and it spanned 2 weeks. And I raised over €300 for them, which was really amazing for me. I was very happy with the outcome for that. And that was Teen Turn. So now for Variety, I also did another fundraiser for them, and I wanted to incorporate another one of my passions, which is art. Variety is a children's charity, and they go for really spreading smiles over children's faces. So I said I would also draw or paint a Disney show, or, Up, the big movie. You're supposed to know Up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. I mean, I was hoping to pick something that it would be universally known by everybody, so that get more reach and stuff. And yeah, I drew that. I also made a reel out of it because I want to show people how it's done, kind of how the painting process is. It's something that I love and I do when I'm trying to relax, or even for homework. I used to do it in secondary school. I used to do art as a subject, and even doing that, it was always something that I liked. Got an A in that, so that was good too.
That helps.
Yeah, that was a perk. And I completed that. So that was in the giveaway as well, along with some more kind of children prizes with sweets and a pillow for Minnie Mouse and all these cute prizes. I raised money for Variety as well. And then also another thing with my art, I also prepared 5 paintings with different Disney characters that I'm going to donate to the kids at Variety too, just as a way that I usually did charity work, not just raising money, but also giving something personally from myself to them. It's something that I like doing as well with charity work. It's something that I kind of was raised doing, just giving yourself and putting a bit of yourself into your work in that sense, and just donating it as well is something that I like to do. So that's why I did that too.
What are the 5 characters? Can you share that with us?
Yeah, they're also on my Instagram, if I remember correctly, okay, because I keep mixing them up, because I had polls on my Instagram picking 2 characters. If it was that people wanted me to do Winnie the Pooh or Alice in Wonderland, that was the character. So it was Alice in Wonderland, Cinderella, Snow White, Nemo, and Bambi, my favorite.
Right. Okay. So you've painted all of those, and those are good to go, and then you'll donate those to some of the children. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And what sort of I know very little about art. I have no artistic talent whatsoever. Are they watercolors? Are they sketches? What sort of art do you do?
These ones were gouache, so I'm not sure if you heard of gouache. It's more
I've
of a water-based.
I've heard that word, but I don't know what it means. So feel free to explain.
From what I get from it, because I'm still introduced to gouache as kind of a newer painting. I usually do oil or acrylics, but I don't really like acrylics, so I tried gouache. It's more of a water-based. You can mix it with water basically, and it becomes thinner. Or if you leave it dry and just kind of use the paint by itself, then it can crack a bit. So that's why you mix it with water. And that's how I did those paintings. But apart from that, I usually stick to pencils because they're easier to just pull out and start sketching. It's a quicker way of drawing. When you pull out the oils, you have to pull out alcohol substance as well to clean the paintbrushes, and it smells and it takes so long. But it's my most favorite way of painting. It's just that it's so time consuming. It's so hard to just say, okay, let me just pull out the oils and do it,
So how long roughly would one of these ones that you did, like Alice in Wonderland, roughly how long are we speaking in terms of beginning to end?
Usually I take breaks in between. So if I just accumulate all the hours together, it would have taken around 6 hours maybe. I do them usually throughout a day, and I mix them with the rest of the things that I'm doing throughout my day. So I'd take like a break for lunch and other things, and then I'd go back to painting. I'd go back to painting and finish that. So around a day, but if it's just painting hours, it's around 6 hours.
Right. Okay. That's quicker than I would have thought, but that's still a significant expenditure of time. You said you mentioned you were raised to do it. So in terms of your upbringing, because if I read it correctly, you're Romanian, or your blood is Romanian.
Yeah.
Is that also where your surname is from?
Yeah, the surname is a kind of a different story. Apparently it's from Serbia originally, but I don't really have Serbian roots. My parents are Romanian, but I am born here in Ireland. Yeah. So I'm raised kind of with some Eastern European influence, but also a lot of Irish because I grew up here. I went to school here. A lot of my friends are Irish. My whole life I spent around culture of Irish, it's just infused both nationalities together, and that's kind of my influence, but I am Irish.
Of course. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of the mix between the Irish upbringing and the Eastern European upbringing? So I imagine that I don't know if with friends growing up, if they had pure, their parents were Irish, so they had the Irish upbringing. Did you find that the way you were raised was slightly different to the way, let's say, some of your friends were raised?
Obviously, there were different traditions that came up in being raised with a Eastern European influence, as in like the types of food you eat for Christmas. You'd have extra foods, and you'd come to school and say, "Hey, I had this," and you'd be like, "Okay, what about the turkey? Or what about the different foods that we have?"
Right.
It's kind of that clash, but the majority of the upbringing was quite similar to the Irish one. I mean, I came home from school and I would talk about what we did there, and then we kind of got influenced by how other people were living too, and we merged both together, and it was nice in a way. I had the knowledge of how to deal with Eastern European people and also how to be with Irish people, and both of that together, honestly, in my opinion, it's such a positive thing to look at as well, because I have experience on both sides. It's giving more quality as well to what I know about others and how I can treat others and how I can understand others as well.
And you speak Romanian as well, correct?
Yeah, I do. At home, sometimes. I try to a lot, but I have an accent because I speak more English. When I speak Romanian, you can kind of hear that, and sometimes I get embarrassed, but I'm trying to really put myself out there. I put 2 things up on my Instagram now with me speaking Romanian just to get used to, having that accent, because I'm not embarrassed. I mean, it's a bit awkward sometimes, but it's not something that I am very disappointed in or embarrassed by. I am proud that I have the accent. I mean, I have that Irish upbringing. I have to have something from that as well. It's not something that I want to get rid of either. I don't want to lose it because it is something that's a part of me, but it's something that I also have to acknowledge. And I want people to know that I do know I have an accent, and it's just, you're gonna have to deal with it.
When I hear you speak, I can tell that you're from Ireland. Can you say something for us in Romanian, though? It's not a language that I'm at all familiar with. So can you just say some phrase in Romanian for us?
I can say what I'm doing. Acum sunt pe laptop. Sometimes I have grammatical issues as well, so that's something a disclaimer as well.
We won't know.
No.
We won't know.
Exactly. Let me see. So, e foarte urât afară și nu-mi place vremea azi, dar îmi place că sunt aici cu voi. That means that the weather is really ugly. It's putting me kind of in a bad mood, but I'm really happy that I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kat, did you take your sash off, or has it just fallen down?
It's fallen down. I've kind of given up with it. I mean, I could keep it up, but...
No. I just wanted to make sure that you didn't think it was on when it's fallen off. The things can be a little bit finicky at times.
Yeah.
We've got a comment here on YouTube saying, "Hi, Queen," from Kavya Dakal. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your passion, Kathleen, for education. It is something that I've not seen much of in the pageant space before, explicitly stated as I'm passionate about education. And I think it's a great thing. A lot of the queens that I have interviewed have bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, doctorate degrees, but they haven't really spoken about education so much. And I think with what's happening in the world in general, whether you're talking about politics, climate change, or what's happening in Afghanistan, I think education, especially for young women, has really, really come back into the spotlight. Yeah. Can you just start with why are you so passionate about education?
Well, I am an academic person as well, if you can look at it that way. I like to spend time at my desk with my books open and learning. And one of my favorite things in education is biology, which is why I'm in nursing. I'm in love with learning about the human body and just continuously figuring new things out about how, food is digested or how the heart beats. Aspects like that is really interesting to me. So that academic influence in my life is also something that made me think a lot about education. And over here in Ireland, we have different school systems. So obviously you have public school and private school, but the public schools as well are separated into different types. You can have a DEIS school. These schools usually, just to make it basic, they usually have less opportunities, or less the people in the schools have less opportunities because they come from a lower financial background, or even from a disadvantaged place of habitancy, So that's something that I had to experience as well. I was in a Daesh school, and I noticed the inequalities that we can have with education, how you might not have access to the same books, you might not have access to the same online resources. Not everybody has laptops or iPads that they can use in school. And that is something that, along with Teen Turn, which is also in their ambition to kind of get rid of this inequality or try to help with it.
Right.
I am really passionate about showing and trying to help others with their inequalities, to offer them grinds or offer them more resources. I do biology grinds, and whenever I do that, I always come up with a bunch of websites, a bunch of online resources that are easy to find, even with your phone, even with anything that you have around the house, as long as you have internet connection, which is unfortunately also something that not many people have. I try to give as much as I can. I'm told that I stay a lot with the student, giving them as much. And I used to fill the group chats with links, different websites, go to this one, there's also this. And they get tired by the end of it. They're like, okay, are you done? Like my Safari is open with 10 tabs. Yeah. And that's kind of where my passion for education comes from. I want to try and help these people that have these inequalities, unfortunately. And hopefully I will manage that by some point throughout my journey, at least help quite a few people with these issues.
Yeah. You've mentioned biology grinds a couple of times. What's a grind?
Oh, that term probably isn't, it's probably mostly Irish. It's like tutoring.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I just prepare PowerPoints kind of the topic that we're doing. So let's say we're doing enzymes. I'll do a whole PowerPoint about enzymes with my notes from previous years that I was in secondary school. And I'll put those in there, and then some extra notes that I've gotten. And then I teach that to them. And then I also give them tips on what I did and what websites I used and things like that. That's what grind is.
Okay, that makes sense. Grind just sounded kind of painful. Like when you're doing the grind, it's kind of painful and dull. Like that can't be what it means. When it comes to education, I mean, you said you spent a lot of time with your nose in the books. When I was in school, I did the same. I spent a lot of my lunch times in libraries. I don't know if I would say, books were my best friend, but for me, I was reading a lot of science fiction. It's kind of a way to escape, being quite intellectual myself. Can you think of any one sort of figure who instilled in you a love of learning? Or did you kind of fall into that yourself? Because I think these days, a lot of people even your age will just go home and watch Netflix or Disney Plus. They're not going to go home and read a book, which is kind of a shame, because normally there's so much information you can get from a book versus what you can get on Netflix by and large. So where did your love of learning come from?
I had a lot of figures, like you say, in my life that inspired my reading passion. I mean, my mom was always someone who read a lot. A lot of people in my family read. And then even in school, my English teacher was someone that encouraged reading a lot. In Ireland, we also have this thing during school time called Dear Time. It's drop everything and read. That's what it stands for. Where you spend... Yeah, I was one who always enjoyed that. But a lot of people in class kind of were waiting for the 10 minutes of reading to be over, but I would always love that. I'd take the book out and read. So it was something that was also encouraged a lot in my school, which was amazing. And my English teacher, like I said, she encouraged a lot of reading and even poetry reading. I used to do poetry competitions. There's this, it's called Poetry Aloud. It's held in the National Library of Ireland. I competed twice as part of my school. I would go up on the stage over there and just kind of recite and act out poetry. So this my delve into literature influenced from that as well. And even, like I said before, public speaking was something. So even reciting that poetry to other people and seeing how I enjoyed reading the poetry and understanding it, and even annotating is something that I like. When I read books now, I take a pen and I start noting things down, or I put little stickers into it. My sister asks, why do you always do that? But it's I don't know, it's something that I like. I like noting my memories, because sometimes you want to reread the book and then you maybe have different opinions and you see what you thought 2 years ago. I think it's interesting. So yeah, all these influences from many different figures in my life, they all kind of accumulated into why I have my nose in my books.
What is your opinion about Kindle? You just mentioned, you love annotating stuff and stickers and stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I still love paper books, because there's something different to me about I can hold the book, I can physically highlight it, although you can't do that with a library book, obviously,
Oh no.
stickers or whatever. So what's your opinion on Kindle? Be fascinated to hear.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I can't stand that. I don't like going
I
on.
thought this would be the case.
Yeah, I don't like, even with my iPad, sometimes I try to read books through there because maybe I can't find it in Eason's or the bookshops that we go through in Ireland. And I try to read it online. It's just not the same. Like you said, you can't hold the book either and like mark through it or write things next to it, or even just to fold the page and know where you were at last time, or to feel as if you're going through the book yourself, like physically turning the page. That's something that I like about reading. And when that's like stripped away, I feel like I'm watching a really boring TV show that's all just letters on a screen. It's different. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's funny because they say, technology is supposed to make so many things easier. And with a Kindle, you could have 1,000 books there. But to me, I've never enjoyed it. It's never been the same. I guess for me, reading is a chance for me to escape my phone, because we're all on our phones too much. So if I have to read on my phone, I'm on my phone again. And then there's Instagram notification, it's just too much noise. So I'm glad I'm not the only one who still enjoys even the smell, as weird as that will sound.
Exactly. I love going into even the library. The whole library smells like books. And like when you're in bed and everything just smells like what you have around the house, and you open the book and you just sniff. Okay, that sounds weird, but really, you just sniff it. Like that's what I love. But it's also kind of ironic when I say that I don't like going on like Kindles or whatever and reading books, because I'm also someone that says, technology is the future. And if we nourish that in a positive way, we can get a really good outcome out of technology. But then again, I'm against reading on the Kindle, but that's just a personal preference of mine. I do think that it is something that's so amazing for other people, because you can access so many books through your book app on your phone, even like you've said.
Exactly.
And for people who don't really have access to buying a lot of books, or even to a bookshop that has many variety of books, something like a Kindle is so helpful. And I do recommend it to people who can read through a screen and don't find that bothering. It's something that's really, really good from the side of technology. Well,
I mean, some people, I guess, many people maybe even would actually prefer the Kindle, because they don't actually, I mean, I'm thinking, like, especially if you want to travel, not that we could in the last 18 months, but if you wanted to travel, obviously you can't really take you can't take your bookcase with you, so to speak. Have you tried audiobooks at all? Because that's one thing I've been doing more recently, just whilst I'm busy doing other things and I can't sit there reading a book, but I've got nothing to listen to. Rather than listening to music, I've been listening to audiobooks played at 1.25 times speed, so I can get it in more quickly. Have you tried that at all?
I did try reading audiobooks. I do feel like it's still something that it's not properly immersing me into the book, though, because when I'm hearing something, I also
it's not the same. But it's kind of like a cheat way of doing it. Because there's some books, like, I don't really mind that I haven't really, like, if I really want to digest a book, I'm going to have to read it. But if there's a book that I'm just kind of interested, I'll play it on the audiobook, and then if I'm interested in it, then I'll go and get the paperback version of it. So have you done that sort of thing at all?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I read a book. I wasn't that into the blurb, as they say, the blurb, the back of the book where you read a thing. I wasn't that interested in it. I was like, I might just listen to the audiobook, and I found it on my phone and I put it on, and then at the end I was happy I didn't actually read the book, because it wasn't interesting enough.
Well, that was a waste of time.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But it is nice to have it going on in the background. It's just that I'm a multitasker, and I like to do things if I have my hands free and I'm not like completely into something, I like to do things with it, and then I kind of forget that I'm listening to something, or I just don't pay that much attention to it. There's also that aspect as well. But like I said, that is something as well, according by technology, that is really helpful to other people, because they might not have time to sit and read the book, or like take time out of their day to just sit and have the book in front of their hands, So that's another thing that's great, but just not for me.
It's great. The disadvantage of it is that our attention spans now are literally shorter than goldfish.
Yeah.
So it's a give and take. Well, yeah, exactly. And a lot of people, I think, just don't have the patience to sit down and read a book, because they find it's not as visually stimulating as TikTok. If you don't like it, you swipe straight away and you're onto something else.
Unfortunately, that is the thing.
Well, yeah, it's technology. It's got pros and cons. Just in terms of, you mentioned that you were mentoring people, young people through Teen Turn. How have you, because I've worked with young kids for a long time as a tennis coach, and what I used to do, because it was interesting to me, I would ask someone who's like 6 years old, how was school today? And the answer would always be, oh, I loved it. And then if you ask someone who was 18, which is our last year of compulsory school, you almost always get, you don't even get an answer, you just get a sigh, a slump of the shoulders and a groan. And it started, I always wondered, like, when did it start to change? When did the kids started hating school? And it was kind of around like 11 or 12. And I'm sure you've given some thought to this. How can we make learning fun again? You love learning. I'm someone who loves learning as well. When I'm interested in something, I will devour books or go through YouTube videos. But how can we instill that love of learning in the younger generation now? Because I feel like it's taken a bit of a dive.
Yeah, I think one of the issues is that we're not really following how the young people are developing. The younger generation are developing with technology. Like you said, they really love going and looking at YouTube or even Netflix, but there's no many educational things on Netflix. But if we incorporate our technology in the way that our younger generation are using it, and not just stick with the books that unfortunately just aren't working anymore. Sometimes they won't want to sit and listen to their history teacher read out what they see already in front of them on the book. They know that they have to read the book when they go home, but when they're in class, it's just repetition. It's almost boring and tedious for them. So if we go along with how they are preferring to work, then we can instill, like you said, creativity and even enjoyment into education. Follow them, follow the newer generation, and bring technology a lot more into the classroom. I did my last 2 years in school in a school that incorporated iPads into our learning. And I noticed that a lot of my students my fellow students were very interested in learning as well, because we had this set of technology with us. We weren't always just sitting with the book in front of us and a PowerPoint on the screen with the same information just being read out to us in every class. We were doing challenges, Kahoots. We were doing different games on the iPads with different educational themes as well. And that was something that got everybody excited and ready and, I don't know, awake. Our classrooms were so much more hyper and active, but not just with like drama or gossip. It was with let's talk about the human body, things like that, or even history, or just boring subjects like maths. We found ways to make that interesting with our technology. Like I said, that's how we have to keep it going, because that's what the younger generation is interested in. That's also what helps us. New things as well. New things are more exciting. So bring like a laptop into class. The kids are excited. They're like, oh my God, I have a laptop. Nobody else has a laptop, but I have a laptop in front of me. This is cool. So then they're more willing to use it and to start learning with it, giving these kids this responsibility as well.
Are teachers in Ireland unappreciated because they are here? And during COVID, it became very obvious that educators are just hugely underappreciated because all the parents are having to teach their kids at home because Australia is back in a lockdown. Is it the same case in Ireland?
Yeah, we're not in a lockdown right now. Our schools are about to start opening up. They actually have already with secondary school. They're back in school, and I was actually talking with the girls that I'm mentoring, and I'm hearing as well how their classrooms are like and how their teachers are. I do think they are respected here, at least from my experience in my schools. I remember our teachers were listened to, and we were even friends with our teacher. We had this system in my school in the last 2 years where we talked to our teachers using their first names. We called them by what their name was. If I was a teacher, they'd call me Kathleen. They wouldn't say Miss Draga or Sir or Mr. And that was also something that really showed respect from the teacher towards the student and from the student towards the teacher. It was something that really created this relationship that made them excited as well for school. And there was a newfound respect in class as we saw our educator as someone like us, That was something very interesting that I noticed in school.
That's fascinating. I mean, throughout school, the most familiar we got with our teachers was calling them Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so. Normally it was just sir or ma'am. And I've always thought that if I ever went back to school and saw, let's say, my old year 6 teacher, I could not call him by his first name. it just wouldn't feel right. You spent your
Yeah.
entire school life calling him. His name was Mr. Stevens, so Mr. Stevens or Sir, and his first name was Ricky. And I was like, to go back even now and to call him Ricky would be very odd. So, did you have that experience in your school when you were going through school, calling your teachers by their first name?
Yes, because before I went into the school that was calling teachers by their first name, I was in another school where we used Mr., Sir, Miss, or just teacher. And that was something that I got used to. And even in that school, we did have respect. But when I moved into the newer one, and all the children in that school were already used to naming their teachers by their first name, I was the new one, the duckling that didn't understand stuff. And I was like, how are you comfortable? I didn't understand at the start. I was really awkward.
Yeah.
I was the student that was calling them sir and miss for like the first few months because I still didn't get used to it. But and they were like, call me by my name. Stop using Mr. And I was like, okay. And I tried to, and it was something that I got used to. And like I said, you find this new sense of relationship and acknowledgement that the teacher is not just an educator, but they're a normal person. They've gone through the Leaving Cert as well. They've been through what you've been through. They have experience, and they have advice that they can give you. You see them as a friend as well. I'm not saying that I didn't see my teachers in my old school as a friend either, but it was just that extra sense of immersiveness into what you were in class, who you were with in class.
Of course. Now, I just want to change tack a little bit here. I will bring up your Instagram, and can you just tell everyone, I mentioned this to you before, can you tell us a little bit more about this? Because it looks like you had this is not something that happens every day. There's you with a mask on. Can you tell us who this is and how on earth it happened? Because as I told you before we started live, my Monday nights do not consist of getting invitations to meet with people such as this. So how did this happen, Kathleen?
Sometimes I ask myself that as well. How did I get in that room, and why am I on the screen? Like, why am I sitting right there? And while I was sitting there, the way
you're sat is very ladylike. You're very, very proper. Look at the posture. Very upright.
There's a funny story about that as well. My sister was behind me. My sister was behind me the whole time. You can't see her. She's not in frame, but she was sitting behind me. And I knew that there was a camera recording for live TV on that side, and that I was right in front of the minister, Simon Harris, and the president of France. And I knew I had to look presentable. And I was so scared. And I stayed in that position for a whole hour. I didn't move. Apparently, my sister saw me like
painful.
It was painful.
Would have been painful.
Time, but
you're lucky you didn't faint.
No, I probably got a bit dizzy at one point, but I don't know, hearing them and just listening to the conversation, even though it was in French sometimes, it was still like keeping me in the room. And I moved my ankle sometimes, maybe moved my hand over the other hand. It was it was a nice experience, and I learned how to keep my posture and not move for a whole hour, which was quite interesting. But that was just me wanting to do that. We didn't have to.
That would be very useful for pageants, learning how to just stay there with a perfect posture and not move without fainting. But how did this whole thing happen? Because as I said, my Monday nights don't consist of getting invitations to things like this, unfortunately. So how did this happen?
Neither do mine. That was just one Monday, and it was because of Teen Turn, actually, because I've been with them for a long time. I'm an alumni of their program, and I still work with them. So they've kind of kept on introducing me to new opportunities. Sometimes I go to panel events where I speak for like the Teen Turn experience, and I also speak about my STEM experience. So I've been at panels like this, and now this was just on a whole different scale. They invited us to an event through email saying that it was going to be with French personnel and just more higher as well personnel. And that's what we thought until me and my sister went on the Zoom call to talk about the event. And it was mentioned as if, it's some normal thing that we're going to see the president. And I started kicking my sister under the chair, like, did you hear that? Like, we're going to see the president. And then we went afterwards and we're like, Mom, by the way, we're going to go see the president of France. And that wasn't normal for us either. I mean, I never saw a big presidential figure like that. And it was just inspiring for me to be in a room with such accomplished people. That was how I thought about it. Not more so the political side of it, but just how I've achieved in a way a lot to get to this stage where I'm in the same room as the Taoiseach of Ireland, the Minister Simon Harris, someone that I studied about in school. Like I remember learning, had to learn Simon Harris's name off and his ministry title as well to have that in an exam. And I remember answering about him, and then I'm in the same room as him. Like that was something that struck me as well. So that's how I think of this event as. Yeah.
Did you get any selfies with famous people or get to talk with any famous people whilst you were there?
Yeah, I got a picture with the president of France that's not out yet, which is weird. I can't find it. It was a group photo with all of us, and I was in it as well with the president of France, the Taoiseach, Simon Harris, and some of their personnel that came along with them as well. But I can't find that, so I don't know where it is. It's supposed to be coming out as well. And I also bumped elbows, because that's the new COVID way. I had to, instead of handshake, bump elbows with Simon Harris, the minister. So that was fun as well. And we got to talk to them a little bit once the cameras cut. We were kind of just chatting and walking around and kind of getting out of the area. It was in Trinity College in Dublin, which is a really big university here. So then we stepped out into the main courtyard and just took some photos and stuff. So that was how it went.
You really just are sitting there perfectly still, aren't you?
Yeah, I watched it afterwards and I was like, yeah,
this
okay,
is
I did my
amazing.
job.
You're like a mannequin just sat there like perfectly. I don't know how you managed to do that. That's quite impressive. That's what you should do for your talent round. I know that you did singing for your talent round. Your talent round should simply just be sitting there, not moving, human statue.
Those little tourist sites as well, where you have those statues, but they're actually people and they're standing in the street. Yeah. I could also audition as that. I mean, I think I did well in there.
Oh, they have great fun when they, someone goes up to them because they think they're a statue and then they suddenly move and scare the bejesus out of people. Yep. They have great fun with that. Kathleen, just before we go to the final 10 questions, anyone that you want to give a shout out to for supporting you along your journey, pageant and otherwise?
Of course, my family, my friends, a lot of them have been very supportive throughout my journey. I mean, through the online side of it as well, when we had to do like online challenges and even record our video for our walk or whatever. My sister helped me a lot with it. So shout out to my sister, my mom, my friends as well, my friends on Instagram, and also the girls from Miss Ireland. It was so nice meeting them. And we really developed a sisterhood throughout this whole journey. We have group chats and we've been together since almost 2020. So that's also something I want to give a shout out to.
Is your sister younger or older?
Older. She's 21 years old. Sometimes it's hard to say that because I just imagine us still as 15 and 16. I don't see us as grown yet. I mean, I don't understand how we grew so much over the span of 2 years in the house because of COVID. So a bit weird.
Yeah. Do you guys have do you ever squabble? Or are you always on the same page? I mean, she's helping you a lot. I've seen all the photos and she seems to have taken a lot of the photos. So I imagine that you guys get along really well.
We do. It's actually something that a lot of people comment on as well. Basically, we're both creative. She has her photography side and her music, and then I have my art and my posing or whatever you want to call it, modeling and pageantry. And we like to mix that together, especially since we share the same room and we stay a lot together. We do have obviously those little, arguments like, why did you take that? I want to take that. No, you have to take this one today. Or we have the same size clothing as well. So sometimes I want to wear her clothes. She wants to wear my clothes. There's that thing. But a lot of people comment that we're very close. And it is something that I really like that I have that with my sister. A lot of the times, especially at the event with the president, we were grouped together because we were both Teen Turn representatives and Teen Turn Balloon Lights. Yeah. So we were there as a group, and a lot of people noted that we were always sticking together. We were the ones going and taking pictures in different parts of the university and like trying to get memories of it. And we have this really nice bond where we're very friendly with each other and very comfortable as well. So yeah, especially even with my little brother. I mean, he's a boy and he spends a lot of his time gaming, but we still have that bond as well because we're all very alike and avoiding the sections of, I don't play Call of Duty or I don't play Apex or whatever the games that he's playing on his thing, but we still have things. I'm
impressed that you even know the name of the game.
I was made to play with him.
Gamer.
I do.
Were you
sometimes.
any good?
No, I had to play Halo with him a lot. I had to play like different games on his Xbox, and sometimes I would win, and he'd be like, "Hey, Mom told me you're not allowed to win. I have to win the game." And I was like, "Okay, I'll let you win," because he was 7 at the time, and I had to play with him and let him win. And sometimes I was good in the sense that I was like achieving things in the game. Now I'm older and I have my own Xbox, and he has his own one too. And sometimes we like to play together, but I'm not that good. I play Apex sometimes, and like I fail a lot. I mean, a lot of people who play, especially online, they know a lot more than you do because I don't spend all my time on my Xbox and I don't
Yeah,
know
exactly.
how to use the buttons as well as everybody else. And sometimes I last a few seconds and then everybody kills me in the game. And that's how it goes for me. But it's still fun. I don't know. I think I like it.
That sounds about right. I mean, most of the
Yeah,
people playing the game, they spend, hours and hours, thousands of hours on it. So, you can't compete with them.
exactly.
Anyway, let's move to the final 10 questions. Always end the interview with the same 10. So here we go. Number 1, what's your favorite word?
Bibliophile. It's something that obviously I am as well. And it sounds so nice, bibliophile. I like that. Sorry. It's a very satisfying word.
I can tell you beyond the shadow of a doubt, that is the only time I've gotten that answer to that question, but I love it. Number 2, what is your least favorite word?
The word alarm. Even the sound of the word alarm and like a fire alarm or a security alarm, it's so annoying. It's so sudden and just loud or like just frustrating at the ears and then your ears ring after. It's something that's, I don't like it. I don't even like to hear the word alarm. If they say that there's going to be an alarm ringing, I can already hear the alarm in my head. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Okay. Number 3, what gets you excited in life?
Progress and kind of striving towards success. So seeing that things are getting done and that I'm accomplishing some stuff, or at least a part of what I want to get done, that gets me really excited because then I'm like, I can see the goal a lot more. I can imagine it, and then I want to keep going and striving towards getting that. So that's what keeps me going.
So that's what gets you excited. That's what turns you on. What about what turns you off?
Negativity from people. So when you get that negative aura, not in the sense that they don't agree with you or that type of negativity. I mean, when there's an issue that arises and we have to work to solve it, some people, they just kind of accept it and then they just get upset about it, or they just exaggerate it and make it something that it shouldn't be. Like, we can find a solution to these problems per se. But some of those people, they don't see that. And then there's just this whole negativity around the situation when I'm trying to fix it, and then nobody's striving towards it, but I'm the only one trying to go for it. That's something that I hate, and it's just something that I don't want to have from others.
Sounds frustrating.
Yep. Yes, it is.
What sound or noise do you love?
The sound of people outside talking and laughing. Like, there's life outside. I live in a place that's very quiet and there's always silence, and I don't like it. But whenever there's like a truck outside or someone's talking on the phone outside, I'm at the window. I'm like, yay, someone's here. There's life. But I used to go on holidays in different, like Barcelona, and we had an Airbnb where underneath us there was a pub, kind of like a cafe. And even at night, people were there with music and laughter and like drinks, and you can hear the clinks of glasses or whatever they were doing. And it might sound annoying, but I loved hearing that. Even when I tried to sleep, I could fall asleep with them talking. It's something that I need. I don't like silence. Even when I'm reading, I listen to music. I put like a lot of loud music in my ears because I just need something going on. It's too quiet sometimes. I don't like that.
You sound like my cat. Every time he hears a sound outside, he has to run to the door to see what it is. He finds it fascinating. You sound exactly the same.
Well, I relate to him.
What sound or noise do you hate?
People chewing. I don't like that at all. When people chew next to you and you can hear them like going through the food, even with their mouth closed, I can hear it, and God, I can't stand it. I like I said, especially if there's silence and then all I hear is them chewing. That's a big pet peeve of mine. I need something going on in the background, a TV show, something, just someone else talking, so I can't listen to that.
So I assume you never got into the ASMR craze.
No, I don't understand that. And sometimes it would come up on my feed and I wouldn't know what it is until I sat for like a few seconds and I watched it, and then I put my headphones on or something because I couldn't hear it. And then I'd hear the chewing.
Put your headphones on. No, that's the worst, because now it's right here. You can't.
It's traumatic. I don't know. It's also another thing that's making it worse. My whole hatred of hearing people eat, that whole trend, it made it worse. I couldn't stand it. And then on TikTok, you scroll and there's someone chewing some honeycomb in front of you, and no.
You just report it as abuse or harassment. That'll take care of that for you. If you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
This is something that actually, I don't know if a lot of people, but I would love to fast travel. to be able to go to a place really, really quickly and like not have to deal with the restrictions of not being able to go to a specific country or a specific, I don't know, someone's house or whatever. I have roots that are abroad, so I want to have access to that. The whole idea with COVID and not being able to travel was something that, I don't know, it hurt me in a way because I also want to go to different countries. I love to travel, and that kind of blockage and the lockdown was something that affected me. But now that it's opening up, and even throughout it, I learned that, you know, obviously there's sacrifices that we have to make, and sometimes things are more important. So I understood that, but now I would really like to go back to traveling, you know, when things are more safer, because I'm also really cautious about the virus. I'm very worried, you know, how everything is.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. What job or occupation, other than your own, would you most like to attempt?
Growing up, I actually went through a lot of like phases. I wanted to have this as my future job, this one. It's the first time I've actually like solidified myself into a box. Okay, I want to do medicine in the future. I want to be a doctor. Okay, so that's my one that I actually want to do. But if it wasn't that, I actually would choose to be an art teacher for like younger kids. Since I like art and since I also like working with kids, it seems always something that like I wanted to do. I wanted to help them. Whenever like kids came over to my house and like we'd have like a play date, like when I was a child, I was the one to like pull out my paper and try to teach them how to draw an apple or something, and just like hold art classes. And they'd be like, okay, but can we actually do something fun? And I'm like, wait, let me show you how to draw the stem.
No. Right.
Yeah.
One of my previous interviewees would bring out her Barbie dolls and try to teach her Barbie dolls. So you're one stage above that. You're teaching real people. She was teaching her dolls.
Feedback.
She would even give them tests. She would give her Barbie dolls tests. I don't quite know how that worked or how well they did.
I get it, though. I get it.
Fair enough. What job would you definitely not like to attempt?
An office job. I don't like the whole sitting in one place in front of a computer. I know I was studying and like not moving for the whole hour of the thing, but I didn't like it. Okay, I want to be moving.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but I want to move. I want to have something that's very hands-on. Like, you know, in medicine, you're always doing something. But staying in front of a computer and just like in the chair, no, I don't want to.
Are you sure? Are you sure? I mean, you're so good at sitting so perfectly still. It almost seems like a waste of your talent.
You could look at it as that, but no, it wasn't that fun. I know it looked like I had a lot of fun sitting in that space in 1 hour, but no.
Yeah, it was really easy to tell with the mask covering your entire face.
Ecstatic.
Final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
That's a hard one. I guess
that's why it's the last one.
Yeah. To hear, okay, so here we have gluten-free churros. That's what I want to hear, that we have gluten-free churros, because honestly, it's so hard to find nice gluten-free things, because I can't really digest gluten, and I have to go to shops and like find like gluten-free bread that tastes good and doesn't fall apart in your mouth the minute you bite it. So hearing that it exists at least up in heaven, that'd be something very nice.
Gluten-free bread and gluten-free pasta is horrid.
I don't remember.
It's just the worst.
I don't remember what like good pasta tastes like, because I've had gluten-free pasta for a very long time, and honestly, it's not that big of a problem anymore because I've gotten used to it. But whenever I smell the real pasta, it's like I need that now. But I can stick with my normal ones. It's just that I want that like dessert. I love churros, and I remember eating churros and like how good it tasted with like the chocolate sauce all over it. And there's no gluten-free ones that I could find that actually tasted good. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll put a request through to God for gluten-free churros.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Kathleen, that's about it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was so fun.
Yeah, it's always nice to bump into a fellow person who has their nose in the books, so to speak.
Yep. I love that as well.
I will keep you on the line for just a sec whilst I hang up with the audience. So thanks everyone for watching, whether it's live or on the replay, and we will speak to you again very soon. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. Just a reminder to you entrepreneurial types to come and join us at our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/the Pageant Boss. I'll see you inside and see you in the next episode.